The Secret to Success, a story about strength, struggle, and self-discovery. Not every flower blooms in the same season. Not every bird sings the same tune, and not every person succeeds by walking the same path. This is a story about David, a 12-year-old boy who learned one of life's most important truths. To succeed, you must know your strengths, respect the strengths of others, and work with love and discipline. Let's begin. In a quiet corner of a peaceful little town lived a cheerful family. Among them was a bright-eyed sixth grader named David. He was full of energy, always running, jumping, exploring, and above all he loved soccer. Almost every afternoon you could find David at the public field, kicking up dust, chasing the ball, and practicing moves he saw on TV. Soccer wasn't just a game to him, it was his passion. But one day things felt different. That afternoon, after school, David walked into the house and slumped down on the couch. He opened his math book, stared at it blankly, then sighed and leaned back into the cushions, frustrated and discouraged. His father, who had just come in from the backyard, noticed this unusual behavior. He sat beside his son and asked gently, "David, what's wrong?" David hesitated. Then he admitted, "I got a bad grade in math again. I studied hard, but it didn't help. And Matt, my best friend, he always gets top scores. No matter what I do, I just can't catch up to him." His father nodded quietly, then brought David a glass of water. After David had calmed down, his father smiled and said, "Come with me to the garden, there's something I want to show you." They walked out into the backyard, a peaceful space filled with shady trees and the sound of birds chirping. As they sat together, David's father said, "Today, you're going to learn 3 lessons. Lessons that will stay with you not just through school but through life." David sat up, curious. 3 lessons? His father nodded. "Yes, but you'll learn each one through a challenge. Let's start with the first," he continued. "Tomorrow, I want you to invite Matt to play soccer with you." David grinned. "This would be easy." "Deal," he said. The next afternoon, David invited Matt to the soccer field. The sun was warm, the sky clear, and the field full of kids ready to play. As the game began, David moved like the wind. He dribbled past defenders, set up plays, and scored 3 goals. Meanwhile, Matt, who rarely played soccer, struggled to keep up. He lost the ball often, missed passes, and was clearly out of his comfort zone. Still, everyone had fun. Later that evening, David rushed to meet his father in the garden. "Dad, I played with Matt and I totally crushed it." "He's not very good at soccer," his father smiled and asked. "And what does that tell you?" David shrugged. "I guess I'm just better at soccer than he is." His father nodded. "That's the first lesson. Everyone has different strengths. You shine on the field, just like Matt shines in the classroom. You, Dan T, need to be good at everything. You just need to discover what you love and do it with heart." David sat quietly, letting that sink in. Then he asked, "What's the second lesson?" His father replied, "Tomorrow, I want you to watch Matt closely at school. Observe how often he interacts with numbers, puzzles, anything related to math." David agreed, curious to see what his father meant. The next day at school, David kept a close eye on his friend. He noticed that Matt was constantly working on math. He solved puzzles during break, helped classmates during lessons, and even calculated change while buying snacks. During lunch, he counted flower petals just for fun. That evening, David ran back to the garden to report his findings. "Dad, you were right. Matt is always doing math even when he doesn't have to." His father smiled warmly. "That's the second lesson, son. The reason Matt is good at math is because he enjoys it, and he practices it, just like you do with soccer. When you enjoy something, practicing it doesn't feel like a chore. It becomes a part of who you are." David was amazed. He had never thought of it that way before. "Okay, I'm ready for the last lesson," he said eagerly. His father looked thoughtful. "All right," he said. "If you had to guess, how much better is Matt at math than you?" David hesitated, thinking, "Probably 3 times better." His father nodded. "Then tomorrow, I want you to study math 3 times harder than you normally do." David swallowed nervously, but nodded. The next day, he sat at his desk, determined to give it his all. He studied harder than ever before, solving problems, reviewing lessons, pushing through confusion. An hour passed, then 2. By the 3rd hour, David's head began to ache, his eyes blurred. Before he knew it, he had dozed off on his desk. Later, he woke to a soft tap on his shoulder. "Dinner's ready," his father said gently. "Come meet me in the garden afterward." David followed, feeling disappointed. "I'm sorry, Dad," he said. "I couldn't finish the challenge. I studied so hard that my head started hurting. I just fell asleep." His father placed a kind hand on his shoulder. "And my son, is the third lesson. When you try to master something you don't enjoy, it drains you. Discipline becomes heavy. Consistency becomes painful. But when you do something you love like soccer, those same things feel light. He paused, then added, so if you want to succeed in life, remember this. Either do what you love, or learn to love what you do. That's how you'll find true success, not just in school, but in everything. David smiled slowly, a new light in his eyes. He now understood that success wasn't just about trying harder. It was about knowing yourself, respecting others, and learning with both your mind and your heart. From that day on, he approached math with a new attitude. He didn't love it yet, but he began finding joy in small victories, and little by little he grew stronger. So, what's the moral of the story? We are all different, we learn differently, we grow at different paces. The secret to success is not being the best at everything. It's about discovering your strength, practicing it with passion, and being kind to yourself as you learn. And remember, either study what you love, or learn to love what you study. Thank you for listening to this story. If it inspired you even a little, don't forget to subscribe for more stories that help you grow, one lesson at a time. We'll see you in the next one.